All right, you guys. So a week before Charlie lost his life, he expressed some concerns about the finances at Turning Point USA. In fact, he wanted to put together an entire department, a little mini department, to address those concerns, and we have evidence of that.
We see that a lot of money, $8,560,625, is being sent to America's Turning Point. They are sending it to their own shell company.
But as soon as the first emails began to leak, everything around Erika Kirk changed so quickly that everyone noticed. She suddenly became quiet, far from her usual confident self, who appeared before the media and spoke as if she held everything under control. It was said that she understood one thing clearly: if those emails continued to spread, the perfect image she had spent years building would shatter instantly. And then things escalated to an entirely new level. The IRS got involved. According to internal reports, Erika was being investigated for allegedly misusing up to $15 million from TPUSA funds. Some sources even claimed she did not do this alone, but had the support of several associates who were once considered close friends of Charlie himself. From here, the questions started pouring in. Was this a financial mistake or a long-term plan? Was Erika truly involved?
Why does Erika Kirk need millions of dollars and GoFundMe and all these fundraisers? I don't know. I mean, Charlie Kirk left her Turning Point. She's the CEO. He had life insurance.
But as soon as the first emails began to leak, everything around Erika Kirk changed so quickly that everyone noticed. She suddenly became quiet, far from her usual confident self, who appeared before the media and spoke as if she held everything under control. It was said that she understood one thing clearly: if those emails continued to spread, the perfect image she had spent years building would shatter instantly. And then things escalated to an entirely new level. The IRS got involved. According to internal reports, Erika was being no one could explain anything with certainty. One thing, however, was clear: Charlie was gone. But Erika, as CEO, still controlled the entire financial system, and that made the public even more confused. Just when people thought the story surrounding Charlie's death was finally fading, a new wave hit. This time, it wasn't about emotions or grief. It was about money, power, and the kind of people who could draw the attention of the IRS. Because everyone knows one thing: the IRS never shows up without an internal signal, and according to what TPUSA employees whispered to each other, the person behind that signal might be closer to Erika than anyone expected. It all began with a seemingly small detail: one leaked email, then a second, then another. Within hours, those scattered pieces connected, forming a picture that caused the entire TPUSA inner circle to whisper nervously. These emails were not about simple accounting errors. They pointed to missing money numbers that could not be explained away. This was the moment everything changed. Inside TPUSA, people began to ask, had Erika known about this all along? Because while the organization was drowning in internal panic, Erika still appeared on camera smiling, speaking calmly, acting as if nothing serious was closing in around her. The contrast between her public composure and the chaos behind the scenes made everyone feel there was more than just a hidden secret. Inside headquarters, the air grew thick. Rumors spread that the IRS had obtained particularly explosive emails, the kind that could destroy the entire system from within. And the more people whispered, the clearer it became this investigation was no coincidence. It was an arrow aimed directly at the heart of the organization. Even stranger, since Charlie's departure, the people closest to him had been acting differently: wary, quiet, overly careful. Everyone sensed something big was coming and hoped it wouldn't land on them. But no one, not a single person, expected the IRS to break the silence first. For months, public attention had been locked on the story of Charlie's death and the controversy surrounding Tyler Robinson's trial. TPUSA's finances, usually a sensitive topic, had slipped off everyone's radar. So, when the first IRS agents walked in, the entire organization froze. In that moment, everyone understood this was more serious than anyone imagined. Looking back, the warning signs had been there all along. Numbers that didn't add up, strange decisions, Closed-door meetings. A silence from people who should have spoken first. Everything was there just ignored until the truth could no longer be denied. People inside TPUSA had sensed this for months. They didn't say it out loud, but everyone understood a simple principle. The IRS does not randomly investigate large organizations. It only happens when major red flags appear. And at TPUSA, those red flags had been flashing for years. The financial growth didn't make sense. On paper, the reports looked suspiciously perfect. But anyone in finance knows this. Numbers that are too clean usually hide something. TPUSA didn't just grow, it exploded. From about $4 million to nearly $40 million in a few years, when numbers rise that dramatically, the public might overlook it. But the IRS never does. People online said something suggestive. You don't go from $4 million to almost $40 million in 4 years unless someone is tweaking numbers. What made everything more suspicious was how protected TPUSA had always been, shielded by influential donors and conservative powerhouses. No one dared to question anything. But after Charlie left, the protection cracked. Funders went silent. Associates distanced themselves. Insiders began leaking information. Suddenly, the armor around TPUSA had holes. And through those holes, the IRS saw everything. The donations were huge. The receipts were few. The financial records didn't match the money everyone knew had come in. No one questioned it because Charlie was in charge. And no one risked touching such a powerful network. But the moment Charlie was gone, everything changed. People who once defended the organization went silent. Closed donors quietly withdrew. Insiders leaked documents, numbers, emails. The whispers turned into a storm during Charlie's tenures. TPUSA supposedly raised nearly $400 million, yet the current financial reports showed no trace of that amount. The discrepancy was massive, far beyond normal accounting mistakes. Then, leaked emails suggested some missing money might be linked to Erika and a few close associates. The IRS moved instantly. It was a direct blow to the image Erika had built her. Shift from grieving widow to the center of unsolved financial questions. When the IRS appears with a list of questions, it means they already have evidence. According to insiders, these emails weren't typos. They outlined years of unusual financial activity, with money moved quietly and without proper documentation. Even more shocking, Erika's name wasn't the only one in the emails. Other names appeared, people extremely loyal to Charlie, people who stood beside him through everything. Yet according to leaked content, they knew about the money movements and stayed silent. And that raised the darkest question of all. Did Charlie himself ever know the full financial truth about the organization he founded? Some described it like an old tale. When a leader exits, the people around him begin jockeying for power. For allegedly misusing up to $15 million from TPUSA funds. Some sources even claimed she did not do this alone, but had the support of several associates who were once considered close friends of Charlie himself. From here, the questions started pouring in. Was this a financial mistake or a long-term plan? Was Erika truly involved?
But I'm starting to think that the assassination of Charlie Kirk was something akin to a regicide, right? The assassination of a king to install a new ruler who the king would have never approved of, right? Maybe people around him counseling the king, people who perhaps betrayed him, because there are just too many things that I am finding out that are not adding up to me.
The whispers grew into a tidal wave pounding at TPUSA's door, and the knocking wasn't from the media. It was from IRS agents carrying documents, lists, inspection tools, and questions no one could answer. They dug through every suspicious transaction, every missing receipt, every unexplained charge. Every line of numbers became a clue. Every document became a chain link tightening around the organization. Inside TPUSA, confidence evaporated. People who once laughed were now silent. Everyone understood. Once the IRS opens records, nothing stays hidden, and what unsettled them the most was the bitter feeling that none of this was random. It felt like someone had flipped a switch, exposing everything. Meanwhile, Erika seemed convinced she could shift the narrative, embrace the role of the grieving widow, present herself as the guardian of Charlie's legacy and distract from the growing financial questions. She may have believed the emotional story would overshadow the paper trail, but anyone who has ever worked with nonprofit funds knows you can't hide millions. It always comes out, and what pushed the situation from a review to a full-blown storm was happening quietly inside federal agencies.
Jack Smith's elector case against then Citizen Trump and now President Trump. These new records show that Arctic frost was much broader than just an electoral matter. The case was expanded to Republican organizations. On that political list was one of Charlie Kirk's group's Turning Point USA. In other words, Arctic frost wasn't just a case to politically investigate Trump. It was the vehicle by which partisan FBI agents and Department of Justice prosecutors.
Since Charlie's death, federal investigators had been quietly piecing together a puzzle. Who knew what? When? Who was involved? Who supported things from the background? The scope expanded beyond staff into personal circles, public appearances, and, of course, Erika herself. The timelines became suspicious. Erika claimed she was informed about her husband's incident by Mikey McCoy, Charlie's chief of staff. But recordings and testimony did not match her timeline. The moment Mikey used his phone did not align with Erika's description. This mismatch created new questions. Who called whom first? Who knew what and why was basic information inconsistent? This small detail thrust Erika to the center of both financial and narrative scrutiny. What concerned people wasn't just her words, but the fact that they didn't match the footage. As seen in the viral video, the moment Mikey McCoy put the phone to his ear could not have been when he knew everything. This paradox was impossible to ignore. How could Erika have received the news the way she described, if the caller didn't yet know the truth?
This is one of Charlie's guys. And it makes me so effing mad.
Charlie Kirk was shot and Mikey McCoy immediately ran away like a coward. You can see him right here sprinting away from the scene. His dad, Roy McCoy, who has been implied was Charlie Kirk's pastor, has now been busted lying, saying that his son was covered in blood.
He had blood all over him.
It's almost like he's on the call already. The phone is in his hand, and then he immediately turns, runs off with his hands like this. See him running in the background like a coward. His dad said he was on the phone with him, directing the whole operation.
He has wits about him. He was just directing.
He was not wasting any time. This is way before anybody else had left the scene. There's Charlie in the SUV, and you can see him up in the background bailing.
Two major issues now converged. The money timeline both pointed straight back to Erika, but what truly shocked the community was how fast she moved after Charlie's death. Before authorities finished verifying the timeline, before insiders grasped what happened, Erika was already at the center of Tupia. She appeared at events, took stages confidently, delivered polished speeches. The lights, the scripts, the positioning, it all looked prepared in advance, and people wondered, how could someone grieving move this quickly? How could she slip into Charlie's role so seamlessly? Online observers noticed that instead of grief, her appearances radiated calculation. Some called it an emotional performance. What looked like memorials felt more like branding campaigns with dramatic music. Emotional lines like "Father," "Forgive them," further blurring the line between sincerity and spectacle. Her transition was too fast. Her timeline didn't match the recordings. Her presence felt rehearsed. This sparked a wave of doubt across social media. Some began asking, was grief being used as a shield? Or was something being hidden? When reporters questioned her, she repeated one prepared sentence. This is what Charlie would have wanted. It sounded comforting, yet deeply suspicious. Those who knew Charlie said it was completely out of character. Finally, Candace Owens, one of the few who still spoke of Charlie as a real person, publicly stated that Erika's answer was entirely inconsistent with who Charlie truly was. According to Candace, Charlie was transparent, direct, intolerant of ambiguity. He would never have wanted his passing turned into a stage-managed spectacle. So the unavoidable question emerged. Why was Erika so focused on controlling TPUSA's image so soon after Charlie's death? While others were grieving, Erika was reorganizing, directing, shaping the narrative and doing it immediately. This turned the story from a financial issue into a story of image and power. Because when one person is controlling every message, appearance, and detail in the midst of a major event, the public has every right to question the motives. And the biggest question became, is Erika protecting TPUSA's image or protecting herself? While everyone else tried to piece together what happened to Charlie, Erika quietly gained complete control over the organization, deciding what information was released, what wasn't, who remained visible, and who vanished from the narrative. Everything felt orchestrated. Then the IRS began opening every account and expenditure TPUSA touched over the years. The speed and thoroughness shocked everyone. And as the investigation deepened, people started connecting dots they had ignored. Suddenly, words like shell companies, middlemen, and hidden funds entered conversations that once focused on campus events and conferences. Even more alarming, the FBI had begun asking questions to focusing on more than receipts. They were looking at the inner circle, donors, board members, high-level decision makers. Once the FBI steps in, nothing disappears. No one escapes. Meanwhile, Erika remained calm, at least on the outside. But those close to her sensed the walls closing in. And according to insiders, Erika's name may only be the first in a much longer list.